When people talk about the strongest titan, the first name that comes to mind is Godzilla. The king of the monsters isn't just a giant lizard, he's the walking embodiment of nuclear power. Towering at over 120 meters, Godzilla has ruled Earth's oceans for millennia, surfacing only when balance is threatened. His design alone radiates dominance: armored scales, glowing dorsal fins, and that terrifying roar that makes entire cities freeze in place. But it's not just looks. Godzilla's trump card is the atomic breath, a concentrated beam of radioactive energy capable of cutting through buildings, war machines, and even rival titans. His durability is legendary. Absorbing nuclear energy not only strengthens him, but literally heals his body. That's why in his clash against King Ghidorah, even after taking brutal punishment, Godzilla roared back stronger than ever, proving he's more than just muscle. He's persistence, power, and fury rolled into one unstoppable force. Still, one question divides fans. Is Godzilla truly the most powerful or just the most stubborn? Ghidorah was taller, Kong was faster, and Methuselah could probably outlast him in sheer endurance. Yet Godzilla remains the alpha titan, not because he's the biggest or the quickest, but because every time he falls, he rises again. And honestly, if height was all that mattered, Godzilla could just buy platform shoes. Before Godzilla became the undisputed alpha, there was one creature that nearly destroyed his entire species: MUTO Prime. This colossal predator, sometimes called the Titan Killer, is far larger and deadlier than the MUTOs seen in 2014's Godzilla. Standing at over 300 meters long, armored like a living tank, and covered in jagged, obsidian-like plating, MUTO Prime is one of the most terrifying natural enemies Godzilla has ever faced. What makes MUTO Prime so dangerous is her biology. She isn't just strong, she's specialized. Her claws are designed to pierce Titan hide, her armor shrugs off most physical attacks, and she carries a biological weapon inside her: ovipositors capable of implanting eggs into other titans. This isn't just a predator, it's a species eraser. In the official lore, MUTO Prime hunted Godzilla's ancestors, implanting young MUTOs that eventually burst out and killed their host. In other words, she wasn't just an enemy, she was extinction in motion. So the debate is clear. Could even Godzilla survive if MUTO Prime had appeared in the films instead of just the lore? Some argue that Godzilla's modern power, especially his atomic arsenal, would give him the edge. Others say MUTO Prime's sheer size, armor, and horrifying parasitic strategy would overwhelm him. One thing is certain, she makes the MUTOs of 2014 look like house pets in comparison. And honestly, if MUTO Prime ever showed up at your door, you wouldn't just run, you'd move to another planet. If Godzilla is the king of the monsters, then King Ghidorah is the usurper who came to steal the throne. Towering at nearly 158 meters with a wingspan that blots out the sky, this three-headed dragon isn't from Earth at all. Ghidorah is an alien titan, a conqueror from the stars who thrives on chaos. The moment he arrives, storms rage across continents, lightning tears apart the skies, and humanity quickly learns that nature's balance is no longer in control. It's under siege. Ghidorah's arsenal is as terrifying as his appearance. Each head can unleash devastating gravity beams, streams of raw electrical energy strong enough to level cities in seconds. His regenerative powers make him even harder to kill. Cut off one head, and another grows back. Unlike Godzilla, who represents balance, Ghidorah represents domination. He doesn't protect the world, he wants to rule it, forcing every other titan to kneel under his command. That's why when he first appeared, RODAN immediately submitted, proving just how overwhelming his presence really was. And yet, for all his size and power, Ghidorah couldn't keep the crown. Godzilla, shorter but tougher, managed to outlast and outfight him. It's the ultimate clash of philosophy: endurance versus raw energy. Still, many fans argue, if Ghidorah had fought under different conditions, maybe in an open battlefield without human interference, would Godzilla have survived? One thing's for sure: with three heads, at least Ghidorah never runs out of opinions. MOTHRA is unlike any other titan in the MonsterVerse. While most embody raw destruction, MOTHRA represents protection, balance, and even divinity. With a wingspan stretching over 240 meters, her radiant glow lights up the battlefield like a living beacon. Whenever she emerges from her cocoon, it feels less like a monster sighting and more like a divine appearance, majestic, awe-inspiring, and terrifying in equal measure. Her power doesn't lie in brute strength, but in her unique abilities. MOTHRA can unleash bursts of bioenergy that burn through her enemies, and more importantly, she has the rare gift of restoration. In King of the Monsters, MOTHRA sacrificed herself to transfer her energy into Godzilla, giving him the strength to rise and defeat Ghidorah once and for all. This act didn't just save Godzilla, it cemented her as a figure of reverence, the queen of the monsters, a guardian rather than a conqueror. Still, her smaller size compared to titans like Godzilla or Behemoth often sparks debate. Can a titan that relies on light and sacrifice truly stand among the strongest? Fans argue that strength isn't always about who hits hardest. It's about who tips the scales when it matters most. And in that sense, Mothra's influence is undeniable. After all, how many kaiju can die once, save the king, and still have fans begging for her return in every new film? Let's be honest, Mothra might be the only titan who could headline her own Disney princess movie. Unlike most titans, Kong isn't just a giant beast, he's a warrior, standing at over 100 meters tall by the events of Godzilla vs. Kong, this colossal ape relies on intelligence and agility as much as brute force. Unlike Godzilla's slow, destructive power, Kong fights with the speed and reflexes of a seasoned fighter. He can dodge, climb, strike, and adapt on the battlefield, giving him a unique advantage no other titan can match. Kong's greatest weapon is not just his fist, but the battle axe forged from a titan bone and charged with Godzilla's atomic energy. With it, he proved he could go toe-to-toe with the king of the monsters. While smaller than Godzilla, Kong's mobility and hand-to-hand combat skills allowed him to hold his ground against an opponent many thought unbeatable. His connection to humanity, shown through his bond with Gia, also highlights his intelligence and empathy, traits that make him more than just a monster. Yet, fans still argue, is agility enough to overcome sheer destructive power? Godzilla can unleash devastation from a distance, while Kong has to get up close and personal. It's a clash of fighting styles, brawler versus tank, speed versus endurance. And in the end, while Kong may not have claimed the alpha title, he earned something just as important: respect. Let's be real though, if Titan battles were judged like boxing matches, Kong would probably win on points, unless Godzilla decided to bring the nuclear knockout. RODAN is the embodiment of destruction from above. Born in the heart of a volcano, his very body radiates molten heat, making him look like a living inferno. Standing nearly 50 meters tall with a wingspan over 260 meters, RODAN dominates the skies like a supersonic war machine. When he takes flight, the shockwaves from his wings alone can level entire cities, leaving behind trails of fire and devastation. What makes RODAN truly terrifying is his speed. While Godzilla rules the oceans and Kong rules the land, RODAN rules the skies. He can fly at supersonic speeds, maneuver with deadly precision, and rain destruction over massive areas in a matter of minutes. In King of the Monsters, he single-handedly decimated a squadron of fighter jets, proving that human technology stands no chance against his aerial dominance. But despite his power, RODAN has shown he's willing to submit, bowing to Ghidorah when faced with a stronger alpha. This leads to the big debate. Is RODAN a true contender for the strongest, or just a winged powerhouse waiting to follow whoever's in charge? His raw speed and destructive potential make him one of the deadliest titans alive, but his submissive nature raises questions about his role in the hierarchy. Still, one thing's certain, when RODAN spreads his wings, chaos follows. And honestly, if air traffic controllers had to deal with him, every flight on Earth would be cancelled forever. If Godzilla is nature's ultimate weapon, then Mechagodzilla is humanity's answer. Built by Apex Cybernetics and secretly powered through the remains of King Ghidorah's skull, Mechagodzilla was designed to be the ultimate titan killer. Standing nearly as tall as Godzilla himself, this towering machine is packed with an arsenal of futuristic weaponry, missile launchers, thrusters for agility, and most devastating of all, a proton scream that rivals Godzilla's atomic breath. What makes Mechagodzilla so terrifying is that it isn't bound by nature. Unlike titans that grow, evolve, or follow instincts, Mechagodzilla is engineered for one purpose: destruction. In Godzilla vs. Kong, we saw how this artificial beast completely overpowered Godzilla in direct combat. With superior speed, raw mechanical strength, and high-tech weaponry, Mechagodzilla made the king of the monsters look vulnerable for the very first time. It wasn't until Kong stepped in with his battle axe that the tide of battle finally turned. The debate that fans love to revisit is this: does Mechagodzilla truly count as one of the strongest titans, or is he simply a machine pretending to be one? On one hand, he nearly defeated Godzilla, which no other opponent had done so decisively. On the other, without human control and Ghidorah's influence, he wouldn't exist at all. Still, one thing is undeniable: Mechagodzilla proved that humanity doesn't just fear titans, it dares to challenge them. And honestly, if this thing ever learned how to charge itself, humanity might not get a second chance. SCRYLLA is one of the most bizarre titans in the MonsterVerse, a creature that looks like it crawled straight out of a nightmare. Standing over 100 meters tall with long spindly legs and massive claws, she resembles a mix between a giant spider and a deep-sea crustacean. Her design alone makes her one of the most alien-looking titans, despite being native to Earth. Unlike the towering presence of Behemoth or the divine glow of MOTHRA, SCRYLLA thrives on pure intimidation. What sets her apart is her adaptability. SCRYLLA can survive both on land and underwater, making her a versatile predator in environments where other titans might struggle. Her mobility allows her to strike quickly and retreat just as fast, using her long legs and sharp appendages to overwhelm smaller opponents or hold her own against larger ones. When she was awakened in King of the Monsters, SCRYLLA's appearance alone was enough to terrify human forces who quickly realized they had no chance of stopping her. The debate around SCRYLLA is whether she's truly among the strongest or just one of the creepiest. Her speed and versatility are undeniable, but she lacks the sheer destructive power of Godzilla or Ghidorah. Still, in a Titan showdown, underestimating her would be a huge mistake. SCRYLLA may not be the alpha, but she's proof that sometimes the scariest monsters aren't the biggest. They're the ones that make you never want to sleep again. And let's be honest, if she showed up in your backyard, you'd burn the whole house down. In the end, every Titan brings something unique: raw power, speed, durability, or sheer terror. But the real question is, who do you think deserves the title of the strongest Titan in the MonsterVerse? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if you enjoyed the breakdown, and don't forget to subscribe for more epic Titan content. This battle is only just beginning.